Well, we had a single game on the weekend. Last weekend, we moved it from Sunday till Saturday. So it was a good experience for us to do that. That was not a result we wanted, but we know the dangers that James Madison present. They're probably the best team in the conference, to be quite honest with you. We knew that last year. They lost in the tournament final in a big shootout game with Old Dominion 4-3. First time for the program that we've went down 3-0 by halftime. So that was it was challenging to see our response in the second half. I think we responded really well in the second half, but it's a good chance for us as a staff to sit in today and to analyse what happened in the first half, especially those first 20 minutes. We may have had some rotation in there, but it's not an excuse. We just have to be able to solve that a little better. So first time that's happened to us. Usually this season it's been the second half. We've had some good, we went into FIU 2-0 up at halftime, and we ended up 2-2 or 0-0 against Lamar, and it finished 2-0 Lamar. Texas State was 0-0 at half, and we lost that game. So this was the first time we went down on the front end. So the response from the athlete was really good in the second half. We have to commend them in that. They put their heads down. They really got together and bonded and pushed through, and we gave up a fourth, but it was not from a lack of effort. We created more chances in that game against James Madison than we did in some previous games, which is one of the big things we worked on this week with a whole week of practice. So lots to learn from there. We're hoping now that we've made all the mistakes we need to make regarding situations, and now it's just moving forward and finishing off the rest of the conference schedule. So we go to Georgia Southern on Thursday. We travel there on Wednesday. Another big travel day for us there. We feel as if we've handled ourselves really well. The group are really cohesive right now, and they're really all getting along. And I think that's been good for us on the road, and we've seen that in some of our road results, especially down at even FIU, Old Dominion. We've had some good performances on the road, even in the non-conference with SFA and Grambling as well. So we're excited about the traveling again, and then we'll come back home for our pink game, which is always really important for the athletes, really important to get support out there and raise awareness for breast cancer. And we're excited about Sunday and what that's going to hold. So an exciting week for us to come up. Still plenty of soccer left to be played, and hopefully we can still make some improvements as we see out the rest of the conference schedule.
You had talked about your guys' road performances, having better results. What do you think are some of the factors that led to that? I mean, of course, last week when you had that ODU win, what are some of the things on the road that's kind of, I guess, different or stand out as you guys play away from here?
I think our backs are against it. So when you go on the road, the home team's favoured, and right before kickoff even starts, we're being challenged, and we rise to that challenge. I think one of the things we've seen in the last two games against ULM and against James Madison is we're at home. Potentially we should be the favourites. We should have home field advantage. And I think maybe just the inexperience of the group has allowed us not to have some adversity and wake ourselves up. Everyone's got a plan until you get hit in the face. Once you get hit in the face, the plan changes a little bit. So I think that being on the road, it's right even before it starts, right even before practice today, before the game, it's against you because you're the away team. And I think our response to that has been great. And I would even say that even in some moments that we've had this year, once we've went down a goal or we've given up some chances, that's when we kind of settle into the game. So we're excited about that. We know the odds are in Georgia Southern's favour. They won the conference last year. Their conference record right now does not reflect where they are as a program. But going to their field, I think it gives our team a little bit of adversity before kickoff, and I think we settle into the game a bit better.
2 weeks ago, you had the long road trip. You had some success, but then you said that long trip coming back home affected your team a little bit. How do you avoid that this time?
There's no avoiding it. We just hope we learn from it, right? We hope we don't have the same outcome. We hope we don't make the same mistakes. We hope we prepare a little better. We recover a little better. And that's the plan. We'll look back at that travel and we'll look back and see what we missed on that Friday. We'll make sure that we don't miss it again this Friday. And hopefully our preparations going into Sunday will be a little bit better.
What is, you mentioned Georgia Southern's record, what has contributed to them, not having the start they wanted in conference play?
I think it's one of those ones where everyone tastes it. Even for us, we went and we played a fantastic Old Dominion team. You felt the win. You felt a little bit of complacency in the mind, maybe not the performance, but the mind's just not as sharp. You're not as active. You're not as responsive. And I think that potentially what's there in their performances is that they won the conference last year, so everyone's got a target on them. And they've went down and, watching their game last week against App State scored, and then they kept it really tight defensively and were very, very hard to break down. And I think that's what just shut Georgia Southern out. So I think it's more of a target on their back. And when you play the conference champions from last year, everyone rises to that level. And I think that they're now experiencing that for themselves, and they're having to figure that out for themselves. But make no mistake, they're a quality team.
You mentioned in your opening statement how most current form was like great first half, second half not so much. It flipped with James Madison. Is that a little more encouraging to know that, hey, a good second half can be done and can be like executed?
You're absolutely right. That's exactly, and that was the halftime team talk. The halftime team talk was the score does not matter. It's 3-0. We need to go out there and we need to put in a performance that we're proud of. Individually, everyone in the locker room needs to be proud of it. Collectively, as a team, we need to be proud of it. And I think we went in, we created the ball, we created some chances, we moved the ball, we limited their chances. They still scored, but that's a quality to them. So yeah, really happy with how we moved the ball, how we created chances, and the fact that we didn't back down for 45 minutes. That second half, you wouldn't have been able to tell that it was a 3-0 game to James Madison, and I'm really, really proud of the athletes for that. They did not stop. They were relentless for the whole second half.
The 4 teams that are right in front of you in the conference in the West, you play 3 out of those 4 in that late stretch. Do you already start looking at that and how important those matches could be?
No, we're still in the infancy of what we're doing here as a program that we need to focus on. As the moment that we get distracted and we start focusing on the opposition and things that we can't control, that's when we'll lose sight of what our goals are and where we're going to progress as a group. So we're going to focus on ourselves. We're going to learn from the mistakes that we made this week. We're going to make some adaptations again. We're going to have another good day of practice tomorrow to make sure we're prepared for Thursday, and we'll focus on us and the things that we can control so that we can make sure that we have all the control in our destiny.